breath yet?
No, yeah. Today was a big moment, and it was a big starting point. I've been here about a week, but to have the reception today, and wow, there's a lot of people here, which is pretty neat. So it feels really special to be honored back in this way, and now we can hit the ground running.
Have you ever been more energetic to get to work in your life?
No, I said over the last 2 weeks, I feel like it's been 2 years. Like, I worked really hard as an assistant, but as the head coach the last 2 weeks, it's been so fun to just hit the ground running, and all the hiring calls and recruit calls and club coaches and just, the whole world of volleyball has been so fired up, and that's meant the world to me.
Have you been able to talk to the team and what's sort of
I
the
have.
message to them?
Yeah, they're all coming back to campus this weekend, but we've had a couple of Zooms and I've had individual conversations. I actually have made a home visit to a couple of them too on my travels to meet their families. I need to build that relationship with them, right, and earn their trust and get to know their families and their stories. And it's been really fun being able to start that process with them.
When you interviewed with Alan, did you feel good after the interview, like, hey, I think I got a chance at this?
Yeah, I received Alan's phone call and I said, not only am I excited, but I'm ready. And a couple of years back, I wasn't necessarily the right timing. And so to go through the year of club volleyball that I did, where I learned so much from the recruiting side of the family side, and then to be the associate head coach at Minnesota the last 2 years, I felt truly ready to take on this role. So,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was excited, and I was also assured that I was the woman for the job.
I know championships are your goal. I know that's Alan's vision. Mm-hmm. In this sport, championships in this league are almost impossible. How do you get there?
You have to be process focused. So if we only focus on the outcome and what we want to happen, we lose track of how we're going to get there and who we're going to do it with. So I really do believe in the process here, and that's the way that we did it so many years ago. And I know the landscape's changed, but I'm committed to that process of bringing in the right people, working really hard, and being committed to our values. And then one step at a time, brick by brick, we lay the foundation and we build to where we want to go.
You're back to a couple years ago when you went through that process. I guess, how did that go for you? And what do you feel maybe changed in that time to make it now?
I think personally and professionally, I'm in a whole different space today than I was 3 years ago. And there was a feeling last time that, I should. Because it's Michigan State and it's me and it's Kathy, and now it's the feeling of like I am the next head coach at Michigan State, and there's an assuredness there and there's a peace, through all of the transitions, which are hard, right? Leaving a place that I loved so much in Minnesota with people I love so much. I never questioned if this was the right decision. It was the only decision.
Do you worry about, like, timing is everything sometimes, and if this is a job, it may not come open if the time is right. When you didn't get it last time, did you think that might be your last shot at something like this?
I think there's a sense that all of the personal and professional opportunities that I've been afforded have led me to this moment today. And so I look back with a lot of gratitude that every yes and every no that I've experienced in my life has brought me to this moment.
What was your surprise level when it did come? I mean, I know volleyball is pretty close-knit, so you kind of hear things, but was it a surprise?
Yeah, I was surprised. I was. And then very quickly, I was turning my head to the next thing in front of me.
You have a sense of what you're walking into. Obviously, you inherit a roster, and you talked about you met with a couple of players, even in home visits. The reason you felt the need to do that, number one, and then number two, do you have a sense of what you're walking into in terms of just mindset, attitude, shape of the roster, things like that?
Yeah, I've loved getting to know the athletes and their families, and I love winning, but I love the relationship piece alongside it. And so the mentorship and helping transform these student athletes' experience in some of the most formative years of their life is a huge privilege of this position. And so my first phone calls were to the athletes on the roster, and it was introducing myself, it was getting to know their stories, why they chose Michigan State, how they chose Michigan State, my experience at Michigan State, and learning their families, because those are the people we're going to do this with over the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So the people part of this has been my primary focus in the beginning. so that I earn their trust. I begin that relationship, and that's, I think, where the deepest level of coaching can come from, is when you have that foundation of trust and respect and relationships.
When you got the call that you got the job, what kind of rush was the first 24 hours like, and who was the first person you called?
My parents. They've been my rock. They are Spartans for life. And it was just an excitement and a peace knowing that this was meant to be, and here I'm back in East Lansing, and in some ways, like I said, it feels like I was here yesterday, walking into Jennison Fieldhouse, and I got really emotional walking into that office. And in some ways, I know I've learned so much, and I've grown as a coach and as a professional and as a woman so much since I've left here 6 years ago that I felt ready.
You're young, but I'm sensing this could be a lifer job for you. This is a destination for you, isn't it?
It is. It's my former head coach in Minnesota, Keegan, when we were having conversations about it, he said it's not the norm that your first head coach's job is the one you want to be your last. So I hope to be here for a long time.
Can you talk about the building that could be coming, that you might be playing in a few years?
Yeah, I'm fired up. The commitment to women's volleyball here at Michigan State is a big reason why I'm back in East Lansing, from President Guskowitz to Alan Haller. So the building that's coming for volleyball was a big part of the recruiting process, right, of having that facility. Obviously, playing in Breslin has been a huge improvement, and they've been able to set attendance records, which has been outstanding. But we're really excited about the potential of the new facility.
In your speech, you mentioned, I think it was how and who you win with matters. I'm curious, developing that philosophy as a coach, where does that come from? I guess where'd you pick that up from?
It comes from all of the coaches that have mentored me. And in this process of going from an assistant for 9 years to being the head coach, I really dove into what do I believe? Because I have a little piece of Kathy and a little piece of Shane, a little piece of Keegan, all in me. But what do I believe and what do I value? And for me, that is the growth, the relationships, and the values. And so I'm committed to bringing in the right people, whether that's women in our program or staff. And I'm committed to those people wanting to be Spartans, willing to work really, really hard, and to do this with character and integrity.
In terms of,
Did you have a chance to come to Breslin and see the
We
crowd?
did. So really, really interesting story. We played here this fall, and before that, my last time playing at Michigan State was Kathy's last match. So we didn't know it at the time, but I coached against Kathy. I was at Northwestern. I coached against Kathy in her last match in Jennison Fieldhouse. And then we didn't come back with Northwestern. We didn't come back my first year with Minnesota until this fall, when I got to walk in with our Minnesota team. And I had goosebumps. I mean, it was a really unique moment to walk into Breslin, which I played in 2 years as a freshman and sophomore. We played a couple matches in Breslin, but to come back in this capacity this fall was a really special moment.
Has Kathy given you any advice as to being the head coach?
Oh yeah, Kathy and I, it's really special how our relationship has progressed. She would tell you I'm like one of the daughters she never had, and she's been like a second mother figure, mentor, coach. She's able to give me the tough love, right, but also mentor me through all of the ups and downs over the last 15 years. So to still have her in my life, I chatted with her last night for some best tips for today. I wouldn't be here today without her.
you seem to get a little bit emotional just talking about your parents and the things they've sort of helped you through, and I'm wondering if you could speak to that just a little bit, your relationship with them and sort of where they've been most helpful later, at this stage of life.
I am so blessed to have the people around me that I have, whether that's my blood family or whether that's just my mentors in the volleyball world. But my family's been through it all with me, the highs and lows, both personally and professionally, over the last, obviously, 32 years. But the last 5 years, I've had 7 different addresses, I think, in the last 3 years, right? It's been a lot. And so they've truly been my rocks, and they were the first people I called when I got their call. And then my sisters I'll tell you, my family group text, Spartan basketball is playing, my family group text is blowing up. And I'm not even maybe watching the game. Like, they love Michigan State with their whole heart. So they are so excited, and I'm just so incredibly grateful for their love and support through all of it. Yeah, we got to play against each other for 1 year, yeah.
So you guys are a Big Ten family.
We are.
That knowledge of the conference probably, like if it is going to be your first job, how much does that knowledge really kind of do you think going to pay off?
Oh,
Like having
the
scouted
knowledge,
these teams and everything else.
yeah, the knowledge of the Big Ten for me and this university were huge reasons why I felt so prepared to be the head coach at Michigan State. 9 years as a coach in the league, 4 years as a player, and then, 9 years here at Michigan State. It's just, I know these people, I know this place, and they know me, which is really unique.
Talk about Kathy George and your relationship there, but seeing former teammates here as well.
Yeah.
Just how exciting is that? And special is that?
Yeah, so many alumni, so many teammates. A couple of current athletes were here today, and that really just talks to the family, the Spartan family, and the sisterhood that is Michigan State volleyball. The amount of weddings I've been in, from teammates to players, it's a really unique place, and is a big reason why the people part of this is so important to me.
New arena that's coming, obviously your first time as a head coach. There's a lot of investment in you. I'm curious, what does that say to you? What does that mean to you that Michigan State is putting so much into you as a head coach?
I'm just so grateful. I really am. I have a deep sense of gratitude for the investment in the athletic program, which trickles down to the volleyball program, through me to the players. And that's, at the end of the day, it's the student-athlete experience. So I had an incredibly transformational experience here as a student-athlete, and all I want is for them to have that experience. And we won a lot, but we also loved each other, and we competed hard for each other. And so to have the support from Alan Haller, the president, and the whole athletic department really is just, I have a lot of gratitude.
What is your recruiting pitch to a recruit that hasn't been a big pitch? It's more than an elevator pitch, but what's
Yeah, it's just, this place is unlike any other I've ever been. And I can tell you that because I lived it. And so come check out why Michigan State is a world-class institution with an athletic department that's second to none. Check out the facilities playing in Breslin, right? Check out all of the people that make this place so special, because that's, the people are the place. And at Michigan State, that is inherently true. That the amount of people who are still here today from my time, who've reached out with love and support, you can do really special things when you have the right people behind you.
What's the potential you envision for Michigan State volleyball in the years to come?
I just want to keep building on the success, right? And I've got nothing but gratitude to those who became before me, but we need to build a roster, we need to build a staff, and brick by brick, we need to build to have the privilege to compete for championships one day.
How hard is it to climb in the Big Ten?
It's difficult. This conference is really tough, and yet it's the only thing I know.
I know Graham's afraid to ask this, but he only has about 8 years left in his athletic prime, and he wants to know if you're going to bring back the media.
Oh, we did that, at spare time, right? We did that? I could be talked into it. Only if Graham asks.
We don't need that.
Only if Graham asks.
Do you have a sense of, like, what the timing of, like, the portal roster, like all the decisions you need to make quickly now? Do you have a sense of, what's on the horizon? Like, what's your next 2 weeks?
I'm very much in the people phase.
Okay.
Very much in building the relationship with our current student athletes, talking to transfer student athletes, building relationships with them, sharing my vision for the program, and hiring a staff. And so everything else is, schedules and practice times, that is all happening, but my true investment and priority right now is to bring the right people to Michigan State in order for us to do what we want to do.
How much in the volleyball realm right now is the portal important? I know you guys had some girls who transferred in over time, but the landscape's changed maybe even the last 3 years.
Yeah, it has definitely changed, and I'm very grateful to have been in this landscape over the last 3, 5, 9 years to see that change. And so I think the portal is a way to complement the roster that I have. And so we're going to look to add players and fulfill this roster and build it out. And maybe that's through the portal, maybe that's through high school, but it's really a way to complement the people we have.
Where's the talent level in the state right now?
It's high, and that is a big commitment to me in this recruiting process. Is I want to recruit the state of Michigan, and then I want to recruit my region, and then I have ties nationally. So our staff is going to nationally recruit, but we're going to make sure that our region and most importantly the state of Michigan is a priority for us, that these athletes who grow up Spartans have the opportunity to write their story here one day.
Talk about the pitch to the player or athletes, but what's the pitch to your staff? Have you had a chance to even acknowledge that yet?
Yeah,
even look at it.
I think pitch and sell and those words, are used a lot in recruiting, but it's really just, here's our values. Here's who I am. Here's what I believe in. Here's what I know about this place. Come be a part of it. come help us build. And the response has been really exciting. But yeah, you stay true to your values, you stay true to how you do things the right way, and people want to be a part of it.
Have you talked to Tom Izzo yet?
I have.
And I would imagine, 'cause a lot of people, when they get into that role, it can be a little, well, you've probably talked to him before many times over, right? But what was that call like?
It was a little surreal, to be honest. The utmost respect for Tom and what he means to Michigan State University as a whole. And as a player, obviously, and as an assistant coach, he would meet with recruits, and I was familiar with him. But when I got that phone call after receiving the job from Tom Izzo, it was a really surreal experience. It's pretty cool.
The Big Ten's growth, has that been in volleyball? Is that due in part to the level of recruiting in this part of the country? Is that what allowed the Big Ten to rise like that?
Partly. I believe so. I believe the talent is risen in the whole country. But I think just the commitment the Big Ten's made to volleyball. We were the first one to do media days, right? We're playing on Wednesday, Thursday nights because we have the resources to do that. So we've been on TV. They're the first one to make the commitment to TV. I was out recruiting in LA this fall, and I had a high school coach say, our girls watched your match last night on Big Ten Network. They've never been able to do that, right? And so to see, the expansion of the Big Ten so that the reach now is the whole country. Is really unique, and the Big Ten's been leading that charge.
Does any of that surprise you? And I asked Alan about this, but like the way the numbers were from a television broadcast standpoint, it kind of really shot through the roof.
Yeah, I mean, I think every year we're saying that. Every year after the national championship, we're breaking records, and it's not slowing down. If anything, those records are being broken faster and faster, and so I'm not surprised. I think it is a dynamic, athletic, beautiful game, right? With these women who are so athletic, and there's such great role models. It makes me really excited for the future, and it's a great time to be part of the volleyball community.
Is NIL part of it? I hear that it is. I hear that NIL is a factor for some of the top programs. Is that true? And
yeah,
you have a plan in place there?
Yeah, NIL, revenue sharing, all of that is the new new landscape of college athletics. So it's definitely a piece of this as we move forward. But I'm always committed to who that person is that we're bringing in. So there's a lot of benefits that being at a place like Michigan State or in the Big Ten has. But at the end of the day, who are you? What is your character? And is that the right fit? Do you have the talent to help us do what we want to do? Do you have the character? And then everything on top is just the icing on the cake.
With the relationship that you've pre-established in your time here, as you've kind of gone through these first couple of weeks, have you heard from people saying, yeah, we're ready to give? You know what I mean? Like the donors that are going to be needed. Have you heard from people that you knew?
It's been really special, the amount of donors that have reached out to me or that I've reached out to that either I knew from my previous time here, one of them whose daughter I played with, right? So the prior relationships have been huge, from the alumni, the donor, the team, the staff. That is something that I think is a huge proponent of college athletics right now, and to be able to walk in with those relationships is so encouraging.
What's your best moment as a player, or your best Michigan State memory? More than one?
So many. I think it probably has to be, though, my junior year. I talked earlier, like my freshman year, we hadn't made the tournament in a couple years. My sophomore year, we go to the first round and we lose. And my junior year, we fly out to Los Angeles and we're playing in the second round. So we won our Friday night match, and now we're playing at UCLA, against UCLA, who are the defending national champions. And we win to go to the first program Sweet 16 in maybe 10 years. And I truly believe that was what turned the program, was that win. And then the next year we went to a Sweet 16, and then we hosted, and we were top 10 in the country, and then we're in Elite 8, right? And so that win, that upset, I have goosebumps. I remember the exact block and the exact moment. I don't have that memory from many matches, but I'll never forget that moment.
You felt the wave, too. That was...
Yeah. You remember?
Yeah, because it was... I mean, it would have been like 10, 12 years since, I think, like the Final Four run. Maybe a little bit more than that. But, like, that's what I was asking about the history of it.
Yeah.
I mean, that, like, the community does support this. And that
absolutely. I remember getting off the plane when we landed, and the Lansing airport was just people, the band, and everyone was there. And it felt like, okay, like, it's time to take that next step. So to be a part of that as a player, and then to be a part of that as a coach in the Elite 8, I'm hoping to have some of those more moments here down the road.
Being an alum, do you feel, is that extra pressure now, and do you welcome that extra pressure?
I don't see it as extra pressure. I see it as no one else maybe understands the history, like Chris was talking about. So to have not only seen it firsthand, but to have lived it is a privilege. And yeah, maybe there is pressure, but to me it's a privilege to have walked in their shoes, to have coached the women here, and now to have that opportunity to do it again truly is a privilege.
Before Minnesota.